Hey everyone, welcome to another General 0 Hour replay. This is Scottagorn. We are looking at a replay from May 10th, 2025 on Tournament Archipelago. And usually when we play on this map, it doesn't finish. It mismatches before we get anywhere, or before we can definitively say who won. So tonight it finished, and so that's a bit of a rare deal. Let's look at the teams. USA Air Force, Skippy. His partner is going to be Neo, China Nuke. Up top, a China tank, STM. Backing him up, another China tank, Tytan. And so 3 Chinas and a USA Air Force. On this side, Pcap, China Infantry. Haven't seen Pcap in a long time. It was great to have him. Same with STM. Great to have him on this evening. Backing up Pcap in the cyan is GLA Vanilla, Wildcard. Down here, Coredawg, China Vanilla, who's going to be backing up. Pancake, GLA Stealth. Now, in recent times, Pancake, his strategy as GLA Stealth has been to build a barracks as soon as he can, and then, with that barracks, as quickly as he can, build a hijacker. And there it is. Seeing if there's any exposed bulldozers out there. Up the top side, Pcap knows that he's infantry and he's got 2 tanks across from him. They're not going to have any ranged units. Smartly building the bunker. Alright, so a minute 40 into the game. 2 bunkers, not enough to keep a hijacker at bay. If he had built a Gatling cannon, that would have protected him. But, or if Skippy had, I wonder if that was his first one or his second one. Here comes another hijacker, and that bulldozer is going to come all the way home. It's putting up a reactor, finishing it with a worker, and there's the command center. Pancake's going to be able to sneak that second hijacker into the back of the base as well. So he's already got China Nuke, so he's not going for anything more from Neo. Alright, these China tanks. STM's got somebody there to capture that oil. Titan's got 2 oils in the back, hasn't found this one yet. Yep, Neo's already got his oil, and the second one up front. Nobody's captured this one. Pancake hasn't captured this one. He's busy building up his GLA China base. Coredawg's got his. And Gatling cannon in the back. That's what you're going to see on this team, this left team. They build defenses in the back of their own base very early on in this game. That's the power of having a USA Air Force on your team. Skippy is the Air Force, and so he buys his team lots of time because they know he's got Comanches. He's got the Combat Chinook. Here we go, 3 minutes and 25 seconds into the game. Second dozer, there it is, and he stops the strategy center from Skippy. So if he was wanting to prioritize Auroras, that'll slow him down there as well. And the dozer goes down. Not before he gets a command center started in his base. So that's 3 factions for Pancake. And still no Gatling cannon. But I do believe that's Skippy's. Oh. So Pcap's got this line of defenses all set up, just in case they come in with overlords. 2 bunkers, 2 garrisons. On this side, Pancake setting up his defenses behind the oil that's not captured yet. So that one is exposed to Neo if he wanted to come in and try to make a push, take it out. There's the Comanches from Skippy. And so that's why they're building the defenses. That's why these are out here. That's why Wildcard's building stinger sites around the outside of his base. That's going to slow this left team down. There's a Gatling cannon there and a Gatling cannon as well. Those are expensive defenses. Another one. So Skippy, just by being that faction, buys his team some time, because those teams could be prioritizing an army. They could be working on secondary resources. There's a hacker coming out from STM. And now there goes the Comanches. There's the bunker crawl from Pcap, and there's Wildcard getting some RPG troopers around the side of the fence. And this is why they did it. This is why they made all those defenses. Random places around the map. He's got a tunnel there, so there's the quads. So those Comanches get chased off. At the same time, Dragon Tank from Titan comes in. Doesn't want to have to mess with that again. There goes the garrison buildings. Skippy just finding anything that's exposed. It's just an oil refinery. Not going to do too much damage, but he's just looking for anything. Going for the oils. Now they start out with half health, and so they usually are exposed, but not these. 2 Gatling cannons. Those would have gone down really fast. Yeah, there's just nowhere for these to go safely. Stinger sites, tunnels everywhere. And they're getting chased down by quad cannons. So Neo decided to get the promotions on the Inferno cannons. That's going to be his method of attack. Coredawg with Inferno cannons of his own, bringing him back a little bit. Nobody's attacked yet, but it looks like when he pushes in, that's what he's going to be wanting to use. And now it looks like the first big push from Titan and STM. They've got Overlords. They've got ECM tanks. But Pcap's got the garrisons, he's got the bunkers, and he's got those tank hunters that are already promoted. With an Inferno cannon to boot. And Coredawg sending in MiGs as well. Those tanks just are getting stopped on the doorstep. Skippy with his second round, this time bringing in a good dozen of Comanches. However, the defenses are just too thick. It's 8-9 minutes into the game. They've had a chance to set up tunnels and stinger sites. Cannons. Wasn't even able to get down the supply center from Pancake. That was maybe about 14 Comanches. That's enough to end a game in a lot of different games, going around the back of the base, but there's just nowhere that's exposed enough in this map to do that kind of damage at this point. Everyone's got defenses now. Coredawg down in his base. Stinger sites. More stinger sites. Stinger site, Patriot missile system, and a Gatling cannon. All Pancakes. What has Pancake been doing with the time? He's got an airfield, USA Airfield, Force Airfield. He's got nuke war factories. And now Neo pushes in on his side. This is Neo's first big attack, right after the Comanches from Skippy. So this was the South team's attack. Didn't get very far. They did destroy the oil, but there were no defenses here. They didn't destroy hardly any defenses. And Coredawg was ready with his Inferno Cannons. Neo backs off. Looks like all that line of defenses from Pcap was pushed through by the combined force of Titan and STM. However, they've lost a lot. And if we could see, you can see units destroyed. 18 from Pcap, 21 from Wildcard. But if you could see the price of those units that Pcap destroyed, how much dollars worth of overlords has he taken out? I think it would be very, very lopsided. They do get the oil, and that's a good win. That was something productive. Now dealing with the second line of defenses, and this one is not as bunched together as the first one was, defending the bridge. This line of defenses is in a horseshoe shape or a C shape, and those are hard to deal with as an attacker. You hear the German Kell. Those overlords so expensive, so much health, so hard to take them down, but Pcap and Wildcard just have the perfect combination to deal with them. Even including the German Kell to snipe them. Gets him and loses it at the same time. Down the south side, looks like Neo lost some troops again. He's got a full internet center, has both of his oils still. Yep, 2 oils still going. 1 missile from Coredawg. Does it go on the front lines here? It's the first super weapon of the game. Where did Coredawg attack? What was he prioritizing? Front lines over here, maybe? Now the second one from Titan. Probably going to go on this base, I imagine. Yep. Taking out part of the horseshoe. Still a bunker to the side. Now looking back here, seeing Skippy's moved from Comanches and is now prioritizing Auroras. Is he going after a super weapon? Taking out the nuke. There was 5 minutes left on it though, but that is the only super weapon for that left team, and now they're left with none. So Skippy loses 4 Auroras, but takes out the left team's only super weapon. So now if Titan and Neo can get theirs up and running, that would be an advantage to their team. Looks like Coredawg's finally bringing these Infernal Cannons forward on an offensive maneuver. I thought he might bring in the nuke right here to take out these defenses. As it is, he and Neo just trade Infernal Cannons back and forth. Neo still has his oil. So the right team on this top side with the tank armies, they are pushing. They are slowly pushing Pcap and Wildcard back. They've won the land bridge. However, the bunkers are still here. ECMs, ooh. Yeah, that came in just a little late. Saved his overlord, but not by much. 2 bunkers go down. They might have figured something out here. 1 bunker left, so he drives away from it, but then there's all these nice quad cannons. You know those will go down quick, so pauses on those. He's up here. What can he get done up here? Here comes the buggies. Those are going to bite. And STM looks like he sees the buggies and he backs off. Titan getting cornered as well. So they're pushing. They're pushing in. But they just can't make it through this second line of defenses. It's all the way back here by this mountain. That's really far back. That oil's been destroyed as well. Same thing with down here on the south side. Pushing through. They've won the entire land bridge. Skippy may have found a place to go with his Comanches. Oh, sending in Aurora maybe by accident. It wasn't targeting anything. Yeah, those Comanches don't get anything done. Yeah, they pushed them back, but just can't get into the meat of the base. Alright, so now the North team, for the very first time, I believe, attacking at these defenses. Wildcard's ready with his buggies and his angry mob. He's got only one bunker and one Gatling cannon to contend with for defenses. Bunker goes down. However, the Gatling cannon's still there, takes out the entire angry mob. And then troops coming in. I'm thinking they're going to have to retreat back across the bridge. That would be a good time to have some mines down there. Those two China players. Those buggies would get eaten up by mines. Skippy, right in time. Exactly what they needed. Now Neo's pushing as well, yeah. The right team is just pushing in. Just can't get through. Can't get through the defenses. So what does Pancake have now? Still has that one oil. There's everything GLA is stealthed. Has the powers, so everything that he makes as GLA is going to build twice as fast. Has search and destroy, so all of his units are going to have extra range. Doesn't have a whole lot of units out though. Most of the attacking and defending has been done by Coredawg from what we've seen so far. Coredawg's oil's been destroyed, maybe by Auroras. Has internet center full of hackers. Some mines, super weapon went back up. And he's focusing on MiGs and Inferno cannons. And Wildcard has the super weapon, has those stinger sights everywhere, and the black markets are starting to go up in mass. It's going to be tough to deal with later. Focusing on angry mobs and buggies. Titan and STM still trying to push in, but the bunkers go up so fast. Pcap has some hackers going. Those are promoted. Those are going to do faster. They're going to do better for him as infantry. Does he have the internet center? There's the internet center. Making hackers with his barracks, and so yeah, Pcap is prioritizing defenses. Prioritizing bunkers and tank hunters. And every once in a while a hacker. How well does this thing do? One ECM tank, how well will it protect? Did okay. Pcap nicely using his Black Lotus, Super Lotus. Alright, Titan takes out a couple of barracks. The bunker still is right there though. This line just will not fall. Yeah, between the super weapons, between the Super Lotus, the Jarman Cal, and all those bunkers, and occasionally things coming out of the tunnels, just can't get through. by this point, how much have they not just been spending $3,000 per overlord plus Gatling cannon, but how much have they been prioritizing secondary economy? Tank. Every one of those hackers is going to cost, I think, $675. So they have hackers. STM has hackers. He's got mines around all of his buildings. They still have their oils. Titan, some hackers, not as many. Oils went down a long time ago. Skippy, 3 supply drop zones there. Couple right there. Now, I think those are more Comanches. Okay, pushing back even more bit by bit. Taking out a supply, because you have to at some point. Ooh, Wildcard now, sending down super weapons or general's promotions down to the south. So that is going to hurt Neo. He had a nice force gathered there, and that is gone. His dozer gone. Everything he wanted to put in there. Good shot by Wildcard. Okay, so North teams, or the East team slowed down. They're not just constantly attacking. Neo's been pushed off the land bridge. STM and Titan have slowed way down. And I think one of the options might have been Titan and STM knew that they were both tanks, so they didn't have any ranged units. I think a good option might have been talking to Skippy and seeing if you could have... Oh, here it is. Wildcard gets to level 5, and here comes the tunnels. I think one of the options might have been to talk to Skippy and say, alright, we have our overlords ready, but we see a sea of bunkers in front of us, and we know they're filled with infantry tank hunters. All we need is 3 Auroras from you to take out those bunkers. That'll expose the tank hunters. We can use the Gatling cannons on top. Good shot from Skippy there. And that plus the Scud Storm is going to do damage to his base. Still has those 4 supply drop zones, and those 2. It's for 6, so he still has all of his secondary economy. But I think if you could ask your teammate for help. As a tank, I like to prioritize getting my nuke up so that you can upgrade your overlords, of course, but then not attacking. I think Titan and STM could have said, alright, let's wait. Let's just play defense. Let's focus on economy. And let's wait to crash across until we can nuke there and there. Or maybe one nuke for the defenses, one nuke for whatever defenses are back here, maybe for that garrison. After the 2 nukes drop, our overlords aren't going to care walking over top of that nuclear fallout. They'll be just fine. That might have been one strategy, or asking Skippy for help with some of those Auroras. Because it seems like they have slowed way down on attacking. And now Wildcard is starting to push in on their side. Got the angry mobs capturing their tanks. Not enough there to attack with. Yeah. By the time the Spectre gunship gets there, it's already low health, flying over top of all those defenses. Now Titan has MiGs in the air. Again, just like the hackers, not a strength for tank, but gotta use all of your tools. If the overlords are too slow, not doing what you need them to. There's Skippy sends in a force. Doesn't quite kill it. Resets it. It'll have to rebuild. But does lose quite the force there. So Skippy's focusing on super weapons. Let's see, it is 3 super weapons on the right side to just 1 on the left side. Again, Coredawg with the only nuke. And here's another sizable force. Looks like Titan has all of the Emperors, a few Battle Masters added in there from STM. But the bunkers are still here. They have not gone anywhere yet. You know, here's a nuclear missile ready from Titan. Maybe that could have gone on a bunker. Maybe he could have waited 8 extra seconds for a nuke from Neo, asked him to do a nuke on that side of the defenses. Titan could have nuked that side of the defenses, because yeah, that one bunker still is not down yet. There it goes. But there's not a lot left. And now with enough time, Coredawg's gotten an army of overlords as well. And Neo must be running thin, because he's not been able to replenish the defenses. Second tunnel going up from Wildcard. Stealth the units as well, so that's going to be confusing for the right team to deal with. Here comes some Comanches to help out. So yeah, Skippy went back to Comanches after a long time of using Auroras, but you can see just how quickly they go out. Woo! To quad cannons. Nice teamwork there. That was well dealt with. So I'd say on this map, it's like 2 games of tug of war going on simultaneously. The north side and the south side doing tug of war with those land bridges, except instead of, you know, you're pushing across on the other team. Yeah, I think those might have been stealth, which is why a lot of them didn't get targeted. It seems like GLA has a disadvantage here because their Scud launchers, their buggies even, can get countered by USA and GLA, or USA and China, rather. The ECMs can deflect the missiles. The Avengers from USA can shoot them out of the sky. Whereas if you're China, you can bring in Inferno cannons, you can bring in nuke cannons, there's nothing to stop them. USA to a lesser degree, but China does have a big strength here of getting across the land bridge and pushing through defenses. Not tank so much, but China nuke and Coredawg's China vanilla has a huge tool with those Inferno cannons or the nuke cannons. GLA is at a disadvantage to start the game, but if it goes long enough, if the game does not mismatch, and if they don't break, if the line doesn't break completely, well, you can see they dig in with all of those black markets. But also, when they get to level 5, and they can start putting those sneak attacks down, it is a big map. There's a lot of land mass. A lot of it gets filled in as the game goes on. But there are still some empty spots. Jeez, look at all that. So now Wildcard finding a couple soft spots, both in Skippy's base to put sneak attacks. And it's starting to gut Skippy's base. You can tell the tanks are worn out. They've got those hackers that aren't as good, so their economy's slowing down. Neo's slowing down. And here's the third one. They come so quickly. was slowing way down. It seems like when Wildcard put that bomb on the land bridge, the toxin bomb, that it didn't look like he recovered from that. Neo gives up. Coredawg's coming through with his force. Wildcard swarming in through the sneak attack. Titan coming down to help. But yeah, Neo gives up, gives his stuff to Skippy. It seems like Neo was just worn down by that point, and the turning point might have been that toxin bomb that was so effective. Titan's still with forces, so he's still sending in huge groups of overlords. He's got one there, sending one around the back, but there's just nowhere to go. Pancake, you know, I don't know if he's GLA, China, USA, or what he is at this point. But he's got overlords to stop these, along with Humvees and quad cannons and whatever else he wants. You might have seen more black markets out of Pancake since they build so quickly. Well, actually no, they're back here. Supply drop zones. I see zero reason to make supply drop zones. Not at all. They are completely inferior to black markets. And if they build quicker, then they start making you money faster. And here goes Skippy's base. Was almost gutted twice by sneak attacks. That team managed to work together to stop that, but here, just a small force left from the sneak attack that Wildcard sent into Neo's base, but it makes it all the way back here. Takes out a group of supply drop zones. Titan trying to chase him down. I'm sure those overlords are not promoted, but leveled up. I'm sure they have the benefit of the nuke and the upgrades there. Titan's still sending in teams. He's got a nuke ready. That's 6 overlords. That would look like a lot on other maps, or if it hadn't been going on for half an hour already. It's just by this point. Pancake has whatever he wants. Here's another sneak attack from Wildcard. Yeah, Titan had some hackers. Jeez, so many units through so quickly. And the tunnel's still up. Here we have Pancake's first sneak attack. Okay, not quite as gung-ho as Wildcards were, but here we see, yep. I love seeing overlords coming out of a tunnel. Something so cool about that. Yeah, the game is pretty much over. Coredawg's flooding across the bridge. Pancake finally has his 3 different factions all set up, and he used all 3 of them. He's got the search and destroy. Big nuke. From Skippy. Skippy did that one. Titan's been defeated. STM goes. And as Coredawg and Pancake flood into their bases, Skippy will give up as well. So the right team seemed to have an advantage early because Skippy had access to Comanches, stealth Comanches. The left team spent a lot of time making those defenses in their own bases, so it slowed them down a bit. The right team had the punch, both with those tank overlords, but also Neo had a good push through, was able to destroy the oil on their side, was able to carve out that much of the left side's territory, but they just lost so many units, and so many very precious units. Titan lost 103, destroyed 198, but how many of those 103 were overlords? Had $2,000, probably 3 apiece. That's a lot of money spent on overlords. And if the GLAs are given enough time, they're going to build up all those black markets. They're going to have groups of 15 buggies or more, and then they're going to get to level 5. They're going to have the sneak attacks, and that's when it becomes really, really difficult to deal with. Because by the end, it wasn't just Wild, it was Pancake as well. And those sneak attacks refresh pretty quickly. Skips was the first base to get carved out by that, but Neo's was the next one up. And that was how they made their way through. It wasn't by pushing through the land bridge initially, it was by getting across with sneak attacks, coming in from the backside. So Wild had that entire island of his completely filled up with black markets. So you can see he had the most supplies collected with 44,000. Titan coming in second. Even though he was trying to tank, he still came in second. Pcap had the least supplies collected, but performed really well. Units lost, units destroyed, little lopsided, but how many of those destroyed were overlords? He did his job, because Wildcard didn't really come in with help with defenses much until later in the game when he had those buggies. Pcap took out quite a few overlords with just his own bunkers. And then Pancake, right in the middle of the road, stealing those dozers, gave him something to think about. I was able to use those later in the game. Yeah, everybody contributed. Everyone had super weapons or auroras flying around, and it finished. There was a game on Tournament Archipelago that finished, and it was well fought, well strategized, well played by all. We'll catch you next time.